the most admirable chasers you could possibly wish to see.
Hello and welcome to the Racehour review show, sponsored by Gambling.com and Betfred. I'm your host, Stephen Cass, joined as ever by Diarmuid, Nolan and Tony Keenan. Tony, how's your punting this weekend?
Oh, poor Stephen, poor. Managed to back 4 winners at Nice on Saturday and still nearly lose money, which was that's some doing. Admittedly, some of them were savers now, but anyway, that's besides the point. I had a GA bet that was moaning at the Diarmuid about beforehand there. That what was a Wicklow and Waterford? What was it? Wicklow -6. They're winning by 14 points at one stage. He's at it there, cheering Wicklow on, of course, and bloody Waterford come back anyway and take the bad luck of it. So yeah,
he's like one of these hipster fans moving to Dublin and supporting Bows, isn't he? He's down in Wicklow now, and he's got the yellow and blue on him and all tonight.
Yeah,
I live a stone's throw from that stadium. I'm a stone's throw from there. For God's sake, yeah.
And Sunday wasn't any better, I can assure you. Navan back the first winner, and then car crash from there, and then Super Bowl, absolute disaster. I'd back Kansas City at 4-1 about 6 weeks or 2 months ago, and Mahomes decides to the worst game of his life. So anyway, look, we will move swiftly on. We will move swiftly on.
Okay, well, and we've already gone very Irish-centric, apart from the Super Bowl there. We got a load of UK listeners given out to us. So we're going to launch into a heap of UK racing chat here with Diarmuid Nolan first. But Diarmuid, how was your punting? Did you do much over the weekend?
I had a few, yeah. I was down, but frustratingly down. I backed Fairyland Opera on Saturday at Nice, and I everywhere it looked the winner until it just didn't get up, like, basically. Michael Mulvaney horse just kept on plugging on. I was counting my winners jump at the last, and then had him.
I've done that twice now. That Fairyland Opera looks a bit soft. I love them colours as well, Leon.
Yeah.
I've done that too.
No, just because it didn't go away. I thought Clark gave it a beautiful ride. I love a horse challenging up on the outside there at Nice, but tough beat. But lost at the weekend, but nothing too major, Cass.
Yeah, so in this show, we're going to do a good review of the weekend's racing and a good look at the novice chasers ahead at Cheltenham. But like I touched on there, we're going to look at the UK races first, because that's where the main racing was at the weekend. And Jello was a good winner of I don't even know what it's called, Denman Chaser or whatever it is anymore. Would you give him any chance now in Orion or Dermo after that? What do you think?
I would. It purely depends on what the Irish horses do as well, because the English horses are kind of beating each other up all year. It's hard to know where Jello stands, and he was properly kicked out of the way last year over 2 miles 4 at Cheltenham, and then this year has definitely improved. He's got stronger in himself and everything else. But Protectorat beat him by 23 lengths last time. I know he might not have handled Windsor all that well, but still 23 lengths is a fair whooping now. And while he came out and won there, he did beat, Hitman, who's never been all that, and poor old Brave Man's Game, who's completely gone at the game altogether. So it's like a really good performance. Charlie Dyche, he's a wonderful jockey, and Venetia Williams is just, she's evergreen. He's a really likeable horse, but saying that 12-1 for Ryanair is still short enough there. But this race has gone from maybe being a small bit interesting to, it's very hard to know even what's going to kind of rock up there as well, Cass, isn't it?
I just Jello, and I love Venetia because she runs the horse. I wouldn't believe they ran him. Like, it was only 20 days ago he ran a stinker on desperate ground at Windsor, and they try him at 3 miles for the first time at Newbury in a tough race. He'll have had, he won now very easy, but he'll have had 2 very hard races there in 20 days. If he was mine, I would have been maybe going to the Ryanair with him and then going for the bowl first time over 3 miles, something like that. Look, after getting a great win into him. But I'd say that race is going to leave its mark on him now.
He really went for it well, didn't he? Like, he kicked clear 2 out. Like, it was a tough race. Tough race, definitely.
Tony made a point, if he owned one there a couple of weeks ago, and I was saying to you during the week, I'd hate seeing him running inside of 3 weeks. I'd always like to see a 4-week gap. Now, I'd like to see him running 6-7 months of the year, running 7 or 8 times a season. But, with a 20 days after a hard race, it's very, 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 very quick turnaround. And another horse that had a quick turnaround, Master Chewy won the race, the game spirit, was Matata. I just thought that was absolutely bonkers, running after Windsor when he put up such a huge performance. You're asking for trouble, aren't you, Diarmuid?
Oh God, especially Tony made the point about the what's the Nichols horse again that came from Elias? Oh, my head. Caldwell Potter. Sorry, as in, he's tough on himself. Matata is beyond tough on himself. Like, regardless of how easy he won at Windsor, he guns from the front. That takes a lot out of a horse. And I understand in a weird way, him gunning from the front is actually what set it up for Master Chewy. So it probably worked out well for the yard anyway. But I don't know, like the double green and all these people who've horses there, that yard desperately needs a proper race planner. Like, this is 10 days after Willie Twiston Davis was around on podcast saying, holding his hands up, saying, we've overrun Potter's Charm, we've overdone it. Hands up, we'll learn our lesson. And then 10 days later, they're bottomed out Matata again, who, again, John Bond more than likely wins the champion chase, but it wouldn't be beyond the realms of possibility that, he keeps plugging on and, he could have grabbed some kind of place money there. Now it's very hard to fancy him for anything. That was another really hard race, and he visibly emptied, didn't he, jumping the last? Visibly, he just conked out,
Looked exhausted. Exhausted. Now, in fairness now, the race planner there is Anthony Bromley Dermo, regarded as one of the sharpest minds in racing, but I'd say he's no saying Willie Mullins for a start, and I'd say the Twiston Davis do whatever they want as well.
That's what I mean, I'm not saying Bromley can he can do what he wants, but I'd say they're completely led by those yards. And I would say that they said, just like Potter's Charm, that he was hopping out of his skin at home and we should go for this race, when Potter's Charm and Matata now have completely emptied both of them.
Yeah, bonker stuff.
Mental.
Context of Cheltenham, Master Chewy's rate at 156 now. Probably, very high for Grand Annual, and then probably not good enough to compete in the Ryanair.
He's won a lot there anyway, hasn't he? He's won a decent prize there anyway. So yeah.
And the one you saw, one you liked in the green and gold, was it an Exeter actually? Sorry, it was it was Exeter on Sunday. Per temps qualifier, there was an eye catcher there. Diarmuid.
Yeah, look, I love Jericho the Repine now, and I hated him last season. Really hated him. I think people are harsh enough on this horse, and I think it comes back to sometimes when a horse doesn't run his race at Cheltenham, especially when he was going in as favourite. Now, they're kind of punters can really not forgive a horse, and I thought it's harsh enough considering how decent that form is last season. First of all, the run at Doncaster, which I said on this podcast last year was a poor run, it actually turned out to be a very good run, because he beat Lump Sum off level weights, who ran an absolute blinder in that Betfred hurdle off 144. In third was a horse called Fiercely Proud, who's won twice since. He's now rated 137. And this lad, he ran on Sunday off 134. And there was punters afterwards saying that Nico de Boinville gave this lad a brutal ride. Nico de Boinville gave this lad a wonderful ride in third. Absolutely wonderful. He found trouble when he needed to find trouble. Jumping the second last, there was a little bit of concern maybe he mightn't get top four. He gave him 2 slaps. He jumped the last. He got there. He was up there. And then he just basically eased him home. Lost second close home. He'll be third. I'd say he might get a pound or two for that, which he probably needs, because the per temps now with the new rules, there's 12 winners who are guaranteed now to be in, and he probably needs 1 or 2 there. But I was enthused during the week to hear that I'd heard that JP was pushing for the Wall Park, to be running in the stairs, which I'd hope would mean that he's trying to get another one in at the bottom, because Nicky Henderson was talking about this lad going for a Betfred hurdle, and then he was taken out of it, and they won that race with Joyous. So it's they're kind of all the movements there. But this lad, to me now, he stayed Cass. 134 is, I think, 15-16 pounds below where he should be at least. He needs to get in, and he showed on Sunday he stays, because under hands and heels he flew home over 3 miles. They were good horses there. I just think 8-1. I know 8-1 is not a massive price for a handicap, but he has the propensity to be a 5-2 or a 3-1 shot. So, I really like him, Cass. Really, really do.
Okay, Jericho the Repine for the attempts, and only got a nice Dermo ran in Exeter as well in the listed mares chase. Fun. Kind of bombed out there. It was an Irish listed chase, ran in England really. What did you think of her?
I thought she was good, but she, I don't know, staying wise maybe over 2 miles 4, but kind of minus that, she's some beautiful jumper, isn't she? As in, it's I thought after she beat Nara now that maybe she was a little bit flattered, but you completely got that right. There wasn't a moment really, was there, in that race that, as in she was never in trouble, was she?
No. She travels really well in the races, and I'm about to put the kibosh on her now and say that the best novice jumper in training. Like, she's such an unbelievable jumper. Like, she looks like the model of the old paintings over a fence, but she's gone and over them quickly. And she's not like she's overly big or anything. She's just a fantastic chaser. The stamina thing was slightly confusing, but you'd be more negative than positive on it. Like Kilbarry Saint.
Cromwell said that he thought, and you might back him up on this, he thinks that she'll stay, and that he thought Sean Bowen gave Kilbarry Saint an absolute screaming ride that nearly robbed it, considering, she had her race kind of ran by the time the horse was, time she said.
Yeah. The one kind of poor jump that Only Benight did was kind of, she jumped a little over big, was the last, and I'd say they thought the race was won nearly in a way. Keith Dunn, it was easy on her, but all of a sudden Kilbarry Saint was coming, and there was a narrow, he was 6 lengths down. All of a sudden he was only a length down. That horse could have come and got her. But what I liked about it, Stamina, was she did pick up again and won snug at the end. So it didn't look like she was tiring at the line, but at the same time, it didn't look like she was crying out for a half a mile up and trip. And I wouldn't be doubling my bet now, at 12. Like, I backed her.
She go Arkle.
That she could go Arkle, and if Masborough came down, she'd go for Gar. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That'd be that if that happened there, because Lana Sud, as good as he is, I would talk about this in the context of the Arkle when we get there. We're talking about novice chasers, but there wouldn't be much to be afraid of. And the mare's chase is a better race now than the Arkle would be, because Dino Blue is back. Allegor de Bassi ran well as well. It's just looking, and you have bioluminescence in there as well. Ground is a worry. There's just a lot of worries with her, even though she looks really good. So if she goes,
but looking at all the rest of them though, as in I was negative to you, I forgot to tell you that I kind of switched on this a bit, is that if it turns out to be a decent ground festival, if you go through the first 7 or 8 in the market here, not many of them want that. As in, she's probably one of the only ones that if the ground was decent, she's at a massive advantage there, huge advantage, because all the rest of them are keen. They're muddy enough mares now. Like,
while we're talking about this, do you remember last year the water table was really high? And everyone was saying, don't worry about that. Come Cheltenham, spring always comes, and that always happens. And what happened was spring came, and then a little bit of rain,
and it was gone again.
It was heavy again.
Yeah.
Whereas the water table, we all know how dry the winter was starting out. What is it, February? February the 9th there, I put the robot lawnmower out. It was like a road out my back garden. I didn't do that till March last year. I remember all these things when I was listening to certain podcasts, and when I was, power hosing and cleaning up the leaves. That's all done a month earlier this year. Like, it could be a good ground festival.
Oh, could
There's so much water they can put on it. That's interesting now you say that, and everyone will be...
There's all those front 6 or 7 horses there in the mare.
Yeah.
You got Bioluminescence. Sorry, Bride's Hill's the other one. She likes it well as well. But like Allegor de Vassi, Dino Blue, all these mares, especially Limerick Lace, all them, they all like the ground harder, in my opinion. And she's the one. Worse. She's the one now that on proper ground, I think she could have a real kick against them. Yeah.
And it's the Friday as well. And look, knowing my luck, it's her and Banbridge are having the Friday. So look, it's going to be fucking heavy ground on the Friday. You forget about it, like, there's no chance. No chance. Tony, I'd be interested to hear what you thought about both things. Did you see Only by Night, and then that race at Naas, Allegory de Bassi and Dino Blue? What did you think of both? Or Navan, sorry, was Allegory and Dino.
Naas, you're right. Just fences look very big in Exeter. That's one thing. Jesus, they always seem to look massive. Her jump was very good. I think she's 2 mailer, lads. Way she jumps, way she travels, way she went Carl. I don't know what I want to be backing her on a slog for the... Not that it necessarily will be a slog, but I think that's a trip. I'd say the Arkle is... I'd say very much on the cards, not only with Sergino coming out, and I think there's a few other fairly significant ones taken out today with Edith Atlantique come out, Mr. Gift come out, ones that will be...
Imperi Pass came out as well. I thought he was going to go, he'd be dropping back. Yeah. And Mr. Gift, yeah.
So Mullins only has... only has Magsborough and Ballybourne in at the minute. Cromwell has run some horses in it that weren't obvious, that ran quite well. Gabby Nacco, I suppose, is the standard example of that. So I wonder, is the Arkle on the cards, and especially with him having such a strong hand in the mares just bioluminescent. I do wonder what the form Limerick Lace is in at the moment, anyway, but Bride's Hill as well. Yeah, and I would echo what Diarmuid said there. Like, to me, the reason why Dino Blue came back to form at Naas was the ground. Ground quite fast, decent enough at Cork. Banbridge ran really well in that race. It kind of had to be, and probably on the fast side at Leopard side. So she came back to form. Mark Walsh obviously doesn't think there's any bias at Naas anyway. He would down the inner and not a bother to him. Maybe, and you know what? Maybe she's worth upgrading on that, because maybe she was in the wrong part of the track.
I thought Mark Walsh was doing a Mark Walsh, and he wasn't trying, and he was going up the inner.
Well, if you look, the winner in the Hunter chase, the only other chase in the card, Kimbo middle to stand side anyway. He definitely wasn't as far over as she was, and there's a few up the inner there, and that race probably didn't finish off so well. So between the penalty and the possibly racing the wrong part of the track, maybe you could give her a bit of an upgrade
good
for that.
performance. Yeah,
is she a Stonewall? Yeah, good return. Is she a Stonewall's there at 2.5? I remain to be convinced about that, but it was nice. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, and another horse for the Mare's Chase picture is Impervious, who may or may not come back, but is trained by a certain man, Colin Murphy. And Tony, you disgraced yourself last week, really, and I tell you, Colin Murphy, apology.
Oh, I owe them all apologies. See, Impervious isn't entered. Well, he hasn't got Impervious back, but she's not entered in the Mare's Chase. Those entries are out today, so that unfortunately that project is gone. Very good Mare's Chase. And look, I look on the Colin Murphy thing. I was more saying he was out of form than he's some sort of terrible trainer. I think quite the opposite. I think he's a very capable trainer. But this horse at the weekend, this lovely horn, talk about a really impressive winner, and I think that horse is one to note. Got a confident ride of Walsh, got kind of hampered with the fall of 4 out, good time, just won easily, all that type of stuff. But and again, the comments afterwards suggest soft ground horse, more of a stay and chaser in time. But it's just kind of frustrating. I don't know how you guys handle this. Like, I was reviewing the Fairyhouse Easter meeting there, whatever, last April, and I thought Lovely Horlin was the eye catcher of the meeting nearly, to be honest. He kind of moved into this first time out maiden hurdle against Ludwig's experienced horse, hadn't even a bumper run or point run or nothing. Going as well as anything 2 out. Clouds had finished savage, just in second or third best, definitely on the day. And then it pitches up here, and stable's quiet, and the ability's there. It's just very hard to know what to do. Like, I finished up, you know what I did? I got 2 signals. I backed the horse that hurdled the inside rail. Did you see that one? Fine margin. It was all over.
Yeah. I backed
that, so that. Yeah, still, I wouldn't say I'd say it would have been placed anyway. But and then he backed Hitak, who's going to be my tracker horse, to be placed at kind of biggish prices. He got very, very badly hampered 4 out. He was far worse hampered than Lovely Horn. But I think Lovely Horn is a horse to follow. But I don't know, lads, how do you handle horse trainers like that when the horses are out of form or things? And the Bromhead's the same now too. I know we the winner at Navan on Sunday, but God, I don't know, want to be jumping to say they're back in form. I'd want to see more light at the end of the tunnel out than that. I suppose maybe half stakes or something like that, because it may be very frustrating when you're missing winners.
I have a silly thing, Tony, where I when the trainer's out of form, I wouldn't go back in them properly until I have like a 50% place rule over the last 10 runners, that once they start. Now that obviously feeds into like what the horse's SPs are. Like, I think Henry de Bromhead probably is on the way back, because the SPs of the horses that he's running lately are all huge SPs, bar one of the ones that he punted only. Therese was 1, Saltboy drifted, was beaten. So I'm kind of watching there, but I generally would have, let's say the SPs were 12 to 1 or shorter, I'd be waiting for about a 50% first 3, first 4 kind of rule there, just so you'd kind of know that they're all starting to kind of run well again. That would be my rough rule. But I find the likes of a Colin Murphy harder, because it's nearly harsh sometimes to say that these smaller yards are out of form, because it's very hard to know what's expected of all their horses. Do you know what I mean? As in, like, sometimes like a small trainer could go 4 months without a winner in Ireland. Doesn't necessarily mean their horses are out of form. It just means that they're bumping into all sorts of trainers there and thing there. So definitely, it's really hard. But Colin Murphy's horse, he was impressive, all right, I thought.
Yeah. If I like them, I'll try and get on. If I think they're a price overnight, I might try and get on smaller. But if they're back to I'll just leave them alone. That's the way I do it, in a way, which is kind of, some people would be the opposite. You'd see the money from, but especially if it's not the money from, like Lovely Hurling in those colours, he could have bet Ferris Speed at 40 as easy as he did go off 94 favours. So I'd be thinking, if I liked him and you got a decent price overnight, you go in a smaller stake. That's how I would approach it, and I just leave the race alone. Otherwise, if it wasn't going that way for me, kind of when you'd be sick if you didn't back him, Tony. You have to have something small in him, I think, just to cover your judgment.
Yeah,
the other one you
true.
want to talk
Yeah,
about?
and the McManus thing just does add another layer to it. Yeah, the other one I want to talk about was the first winner of the maiden hurdle at Navan on Sunday, Honesty Policy. I thought this was a very likable performance out of him. He's had 2 runs now at 2 miles, and I'd say, look, that's the wrong trip for him entirely. It's a testament to ability, and I think he's very, very genuine as well, that he's been able to be so competitive when close at the first day, and then he between the final 2, it looks like he's travelling third best of the 3 that have come clear, but he wins 8 lengths in the end, and I'd say Ewing hasn't got anywhere near the bottom. So he's a likeable horse for down the line. Spring festivals maybe an hour and more so. And the other one again at Navan, Mullins, what has he had? 2 bumper winners in 2025 calendar year, and this was his 3rd one, but this might be the one that you would take to a champion bumper. Copacabana, I thought he looked good tasty now. Both Mullins and Elliott were interviewed kind of before the race, and they seemed to imply that lots of horses were fancied in it, and it looked that way. There was money for lots of different horses during the day, but he's put away 2 with form quite well to me. And what I liked about him, as well as the fact that he overcame a steady pace, Mullins talking about him, but a stay and chaser in time, I thought he did very well to do that. Anytime Patrick Mullins gave him a squeeze, I thought he just come straight back on the bridle. I think he did that 2 or 3 times in the straight. So I thought that was quite a taken performance. Mullins would have a little bit of record of getting a horse to the champion bumper in a tight window, maybe coming off a run in the previous 45.
Loads of times.
Jasmine DeVoe last year, and he has done
Uncle
the pattern.
Junior was very late as well, I think. And yeah,
it's definitely James's Gate ran well in a few years back as well. I think he'd only run maybe 20, 30 days beforehand. So yeah, in an ordinary champion bumper year, I definitely give him a life.
I thought he was awesome now, and Willie was saying he needed soft ground, but his action was quite good ground action. I thought he'd be fine in any ground, but there was the speed he went away from them in the last furlong, and how strong he's line. To me now, if you were giving me a bumper horse from Ireland this year, definitely him. Definitely Copacabana. Might be recency bias, or the time of year you'd be thinking, Christ, there isn't one, so he has to be the one. But I thought he was awesome. Honesty Policy, Tony. Geez, I spring festivals, he fairly hits the ground now with his action. I'd say he definitely wants soft ground. So I'd be watching him in that respect. He must have been happy enough, but a little annoyed as well. But Come Walk With Me, who finished second to him, because he was a tracker horse. Yours, Eddie Cawley's horse. Everyone has seen him now.
I was delighted with myself, Stephen, because I was sitting, looking at it Saturday evening, and it down to the 2, and I came down strongly enough on Elliott's because I watched Come Walk With Me back. I wasn't sure in his attitude in Fairyhouse, and I wasn't sure in his attitude on Sunday either. I thought horse coming back from 2.5 to 2 at Navan really should be finished his race out better than that. He is a walk in the park. The head's a bit high. He is. Yeah. Now, no, I will give him the pass. Sorry, I know this is a cliche at this point on this show. We do that. But when it's
our listeners must be exhausted of that statement.
Yeah, it's a fact. It's another one. It's another bloody one.
I just write in me notes. Anytime I think there's a bit of attitude, or just WATP is in the notes there. If they're by them, because that's it's definitely a thing. He is a big shell of a horse, and maybe time would fill him out. But yeah, I wouldn't want to be taken short about him doing an ordinary maiden hurdle the next day. Just wasn't convinced by him.
Yeah, and come here, the old Boodles trial, as Frank Hickey has christened it, that race at Naas, the first race back in Alien, won it, continuing the good form of Deck and Queally. God, poor Deck now, like that horse was coming in, I think, off 125, and I was talking to a friend before the race, I was talking to Diarmuid before the race as well, and I was saying, she's back in Alien could win that race and not go up at all. I thought it was a good bit of place, and he got hammered with £8. The Irish Handicap has been very harsh at times this year. But what did you think of that race, Tony? Did you thought the second was an eye catcher, Mercia?
I thought the Grade 1 form kind of came to the fore here. The Grade 8 form, back in Alien was Grade 1, Mercia ran the Grade 2 last. I thought things were wrong for Mercia. Around the 10 furlong point, she got squeezed out quite badly, and her jumping went to pot after that. And I thought she was very badly positioned turning into the straight, but back in Alien was in a nice slot. But she closed up a lot of the ground late. But as you're saying, she's now 133, which looks plenty high enough. Holy See wasn't convinced by his attitude, which I hadn't seen with him before. Maybe it was the third quick run. Like this is what 8 or 9 to February had started out in December 26, so that was tight. I would just say one thing about this race. It's produced 4 of the last 5 Fred Winter winners and that. But you know what, lads? Everyone knows it. It's one of these, like, is it useful information when everybody knows it and it's kind of over-factored into the market? Like, if it was simple as joining the dots and just picking the horse that ran the same races every year, I know nothing beats, in the end, nothing beats a strongly run Irish race. Just seems to be the key to Cheltenham Festivals year in, year out. But yeah, is there something lurking that's not so obvious in the Fred Winter? And as you say, I think the handicapper has had his say already without the British handicapper having a cut at them afterwards.
Yeah, like there's no way back in Alien as a 140s horse. It's really like back in Alien was beaten. I'll get to this in a second. In a maiden hurdle, a horse rate 104 that beat it in the maiden hurdle at the time at Limerick. We talked about that Limerick race, nearly more than we talked about any other race over Christmas, and we were right in hindsight. Holy See was fourth that day. The only excuse for Holy See is backing up very quick. I think you're right, because they fairly backed it now. I know it was a 5-1, 11-2 the night before. Went off 6-4 favourite. Travelled into the race nice, I thought, and then just emptied. So I don't know. It's an attitude thing, Tony, as much as emptied, but he got a mark of 118. Diarmuid, you were on him for the Boodles, or the Fred Winter, or whatever it's called this year. What did you think of it? Like, he might sneak in now. He might get 120.
He's 119, isn't it? He got.
Yeah.
So he'll get £3 at least, and 121 would have got you into most Fred Winter. So I'd say he will get in, but the money coming for a horse and then them not following through. I thought Oakley Brown did nothing wrong on the horse or anything else either. I just thought that it didn't go through. So the only excuse I'd have would be that they were kind of like, it was bang, bang, bang. They were three kind of quick runs, so hopefully Diarmuid can kind of fix them up. But you would have preferred to see a bit of a drift in a run like that. But would probably be kind of looking elsewhere now, I think, for a bet in the day, I'd say.
Yeah, and just quickly, because probably won't get into the race, but the horse that beat back in Alien, Holy See, and a good horse of Joseph's that finished third, I can't remember the name, was Out for a Stroll, who went and ran the handicap after that off 112 and would have won, but clattered the last to Punchestown, went up to 114. So if you look at
win some, lose some, yeah.
No, Out for a Stroll.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, so if you look at back in Alien and Holy See, now rated much higher. Out for a Stroll beat both those.
114. Yeah.
114. So if she, if for some reason 117 or 118 got into a Boodles, I think that could be worth having a few quid on at 25-1 non-runner no bet.
It could just be that, Lamba, all these horses, there could just be that the Brits do just have the better versions of these 4-year-olds. It could just be the case, because they do look much of this now so far over in Ireland. There is a potential there that
and normally the truth lies somewhere in between.
Got a course, but just there's no screaming horse anyway for the Fred Winter from Ireland anyway. Last year, there's nothing really yet anyway. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that happens plenty years now. I'm going to disagree with
I'm going to disagree with you there, Jim. But I'm not saying back in this horse, but surely you got total luck was the Fred Winter.
But for some reason, Tony, because he ran in Cheltenham, I'm not counting him. But
he's half British. He's half British.
Right, so we're gonna have a short podcast this week, because we're going to move on to talk about the Cheltenham Novice Chasers, but there's not too much to talk about, because we have only half the Novice Chasers this year, with the Arkle and the Brown Advisory, and we'll touch on the handicaps at the end of the lads event. Then the Arkle, it's simple enough. Tony, you're with Magsborough, or you can find one to back against them. With sad news of Sergino being out this week, but such is life. But Magsborough is looking very hard to beat at the top of the market.
Yeah, he certainly is. Asher, look, it's an awful pity for the race, and for what would have been the crackerjack of a race that the other lad isn't there. And really, the race has actually gotten weaker today with some of the other ones that Mullins has taken out. Like, I was, like, you'd wonder, is there something up with Mr. Gift that he's come out? Would have looked an obvious one, and even the Kiel Atlantique. Would you not kind of wait for the weather forecast and see could you hit the frame maybe or something like that? So I don't know what the story is with those. It's leaving it a very thin race. I don't have a strong view on Low to Sud, lads. You may have a stronger view yourselves. I suppose he would need to be a better chaser than he was a hurdler, good handicap hurdler than he was, but very possibly he is. As I mentioned before, I would see Only Be Night potentially popping up here. People are looking maybe for an each way horse. Touch Me Not is one that I don't know his touch me not though. He's a horse I like, and I think he's very, very capable in his own kind of group. But is he an each way horse because he's going to go off there at the front and possibly get into go a bit hard and things like that. So no, I would be with Magsborough here. I'm not really that pushed on trying to find an each way alternative among the rest of them. And really, what is that? There's only 10 or 11 or 12 of them left at bar him now looking at the updated entries. So yeah, kind of, one opinion would be maybe I'm expecting only be like to pitch up here.
Yeah. But you're not going to get any. We probably only 6. I'm trying to load up the market here, and I can't actually. I wanted to run through the runners, but I'd imagine only by night probably only about 16 to 1. Not
even that, Stephen. Top price 12 to 1, so really skinny. Like it,
yeah. I actually had a few quid in them at 60 after the DRF, thinking he's ran well twice against the two principals. And sorry, it wasn't even after the DRF. It went kind of, got a bit smelly about Sergino on Sunday night and Monday morning. You could back him at 60 still on the exchange. So I had a couple of quid in him then, but Jesus, 14s, I wouldn't go near him. He ties in with Lotus Sud, and Lotus Sud, what you say, Tony, like he's beaten nothing, absolutely nothing except Touch Me Not, but that does put him there. The only thing you'd say is Touch Me Not made a desperate mistake at Sandown that day at the 6th fence. Now he got his jumping back together, and they did well to keep him together, but that had to knock the stuffing out of him. I think Lotus Sud, he's obviously better a chaser. He's a brilliant jumper. At the weekend now at Warwick, I thought he was sensational, and I thought Rubo getting so close to him was flattering for Rubo, because Skelton made a really unusual move, kind of down the back, that he just kicked him on when he didn't need to. The horse was comfortable in front and was a length or two up, and he nearly went for home 4 out, and he was entitled to kind of fall back in the hole that he did. I think he's very solid, but I wouldn't say he's of the class of Magsborough. So yeah, I'd be with you. I just think Magsborough's going to win the race. As long as he jumps around, he could probably make 1 or 2 fiddly errors and still win easy enough. He's just in a different class to these. Diarmuid is ranting at a wild price you could pick out in the Arkle to try, but it's hard when you think the winner's over the line. You're half in your bet, aren't you?
Yeah, I thank God, look, I have Magsborough there in the old sheet of justice, so kind of I wasn't shedding any tears about poor old Sergino, as much as I obviously hope the poor devil's okay. But from my anti-post position, I was kind of comfortable enough. But the it's a race that you probably could end up having most of the outsiders running now, because as in there's kind of every possibility to kind of grab front 3. But like looking at the outsiders there, I don't know, there's none of them. I mean, there's none of them that I'd be looking that keen to be backing. Like Gidley Park would maybe be as far down as I'd be going as far as who could place, but the rest of them really, no. Like it's a race, unfortunately, that would have been an absolute cracker, would have been absolutely brilliant. But Magsborough wins, and then as you said, I think anything of the first 5 or 6 after that horse, then go finish second, really.
Yeah, the Brown Advisory is a more interesting betting proposition. Ballyburn is obviously going this way now after his Leopardstown win. So the betting, if we go look with our sponsored Betfred, it's 7-4 Ballyburn, 3-1 Dancing City. Better Days Ahead after his win, and the 10 up is 8s. Crow Park 10s. Django Boy is 9s with Betfred. Lecky Watson 12s. Stellar Story 14s. Key to Bourbon 16s. Gorgeous Tom and Jinko Blue 20s. And then you're getting into bigger prices the rest. While we're reviewing the race, and Tony, I suppose touch on that race there at the 10 up, because there was a lot going on in that race. Better Days Ahead won. 3-card Bragg kind of made a bad mistake. Stellar Story was running on. What did you think of that? It was kind of a funny race. Better Days Ahead didn't do it as impressively maybe as he was expected to.
Very workmanlike. And unusually for Jigginstown horse, and Mullen's horse was actually the same. They looked like they were out for experience more so than anything else. It seemed to be that the front 2 in the early, the 3-card Bragg and Better Days Ahead were going to kind of fight it out. I thought Mullen's horse was actually going quite well when he fell.
Really well. He pulled mad, didn't he? And then he just...
Yeah, he probably wasn't going to get home, but he was shaping
he ran very well, yeah.
Townend's remote. And then Stellar Story, the jockey has sat in him a long time, to be very kind. Yeah, was there an with another day there? I don't know. But the thing with Stellar Story... Well, I'm not saying that, Stephen, because I'm not getting anyone suing me. But yeah.
No,
I
but
just- I
it,
don't- I
no,
don't-
like,
yeah,
not to say
whatever.
it like that,
But-
that they weren't trying. Not to say that they weren't trying for another day, right? But Elliot, the betting was, he went off nearly 20-1 on the exchange. But Elliot came out afterwards and
Yeah, I
said,
don't.
"Look," he said they were trying or whatever, but he said he was told go out the back and get him jumping because he jumped so bad at Leopardstown today.
Yeah.
And the day at Leopardstown, I think it was the third or fourth fence there. The one, it was one of the straight. He made such a bad mistake, a miracle he didn't fall, and apparently jumped badly in the fog thereafter. So you could kind of understand them coming out and say,
Oh, yeah,
I think it was Danny Gilligan.
Absolutely no
Just
problem
punt
with
around
that.
the back and get him jumping,
You have to restore confidence to horses and things
Yes.
like that. There is a bigger picture. I have no issue with that at all.
And I love Jigginstown, and if that horse went and he did win, they wouldn't have been complaining. I don't mean that he wasn't
No.
off in the sense a handicap
No,
mark, but
no.
he wasn't
But
put in the race to win it.
It was an educational ride to get him jumping again. But the problem
Yes.
is his jumping was still very middling. He was still making a share of mistakes. So he looks like one. You'd be brave to back him. To me, he'd be a win-only horse in any kind of chase because there'd be a fair chance of him hitting one, unseat and falling, or being pulled off the back of that. That would be my kind of read on him. What else have you got? But again, I don't have a wild, strong opinion on this. It's a very Irish race. I think 8 of the top 9 in the betting are Irish. I wouldn't really be a fan of Lecky Watson. He'd be one that I think I would be against. I think his jumping is fairly ordinary. I was a Punchestown the last day, and I always thought he'd a horse with a suspect attitude. Croke Park has been busy, very busy. A lot of runs now with him. So I just don't know, is he maybe not got the scope to... Dancing City is the horse I'd probably like out of them all. I like his way of going about things. Then you got to equally point out that the mare had a massive penalty against him, and she wasn't too far behind him. Now, I do think he was perhaps tying with her a bit, and that's the type. He isn't a horse maybe to do an awful lot in front. So Dancing City would be my lean at the moment. But is there any rush to a bet? Not at all, because I'm sure Townend is not getting off Ballybourne. And Mullins is going to have a number of runners in it, and Dancing City's going to be down the pecking order. I don't like betting on Ballybourne. Maybe something to happen to him. He's not going to run or anything like that. So I'd be quite happy just to wait and see how things develop. And Dancing City to me be kind of horse to probably drift after declarations with Jockey Buckets.
Yes, and jockey bookings be important there as well. You can tell what I'm implying there. It'd be important to see who's on him. Diarmuid, it's an interesting race, though, in fairness, compared to the Arkle.
It's a cracker, and what I find really interesting is Paul Townend doesn't tend to get these races wrong at all. As in, like, once he gets to March onwards, it's very rare, especially in the big grade ones. But Paul Townend rides tend to win these races, and even Nick Rocket there, the Tyaces or anything like that. As in, he's very selective, but he's bang on. He won't get off Ballybourne. I was quite impressed by Ballybourne in that I thought he had the race one coming to the last, and then kind of I'd say Paul Townend got a fright when he saw Croke Park there, and then the kind of afterburners kicked on. I think he's a classier horse than Dancing City. I like Dancing City a lot, but I just think Ballybourne's a classier horse. My bet on the day at the moment will be, I think you can throw a blanket over all the rest of them. I think they were trying to big up Better Days Ahead after the race. He's a horse I like. I backed him last year in the Martin Pipe and everything else, but as much as he was dossing late on, for me now, he's like someone said about Russell Martin, who was a Southampton manager. He was a project manager who never landed a proper project. And I think that's the same thing I saw here. Better Days Ahead, he's won at the Cheltenham Festival Handicap. But to me, I don't know. I'm still questioning how much of a grade 1 animal, proper grade 1 animal he is. And I think Croke Park's price difference with even the likes of a Gorgeous Tom, who's going to be coming into Cheltenham, he's going to be getting there very, very fresh. I thought that Drinmore, if you watch it back, Gorgeous Tom runs an absolutely huge race altogether. He'll be coming here. Henry's pretty much said that he is coming here unbelievably fresh. I think the front two are clear of him, but I think they're clear of everything else as well. So on the day, that marker without the front two, I'd be going with a Gorgeous Tom. But now I've no bet, but he'd be the one now who I'd be swaying towards there, because I do think that he's every which way is good. And I think the other horses, as Tony said, have been quite busy.
Yeah.
Better Days Ahead, it looks good. He's just a JH, isn't he? Just another horse. Like, he just feels got an awful to say about the Cheltenham Festival winner, but that's what he feels like. He's just a horse, yeah.
Yeah, do you know, like he'd be winning all those early season grade 2s and Do you know what I mean? But he's not a grade 1 animal. I don't think anyway. Yeah.
Well, Park's very fast as well. I don't know about him. 3 mile, one getting up the hill, and better days ahead. I mean, even Stiller Story finished ahead of him in Punchestown last year in the 3 mile hurdle, and Punchestown wouldn't suit Stiller Story. And Stiller Story, he was giving Stiller Story £5 at the weekend. Stiller Story was giving him £5 at the weekend.
Yeah.
Sherlock Pearl ends up. Stiller Story was the best horse in the race by a long way. Like, I think if he was put into the race a bit earlier, I understand where their mind is jumping. If he was put into the race earlier on Sunday, he would have won, which means that Stiller Story was the best horse in that race. I really like Stiller Story. His jumping technique.
Do you not think he could go up in that into National Hunt Chase would be an open, like, that's an open handicap, isn't it? Sorry, it's a limited handicap, I mean. So he'd be setting the weight. Yeah. I could see Gordon having a flyer at that because he has 2 for the 3 miler.
But he gets a wicket mark though, because he comes out better at the weights then than whatever better it is ahead he's rated higher than him then, isn't he? Because
he has his rating. His rating is 152. I think they've been rated the same. I think it's 152 off the top of my head at the weekend. So you're running an English.
He'd set that on a limited handicap. He'd set that as top weight, and he'd drag a load of those other ones out of the handicap. Then I think he'd be an interesting runner in that.
Yeah, he would. Like, he's classy, but to be honest, if you're winning a handicap of 155, you're surely going close in the grade 1. I would have thought. Look, I'm biased here. I've had a few quid on this fella, at kind of 60 and 70 on the exchange. I really like him. I think he's totally underrated, really talented. Like I say,
he owes you no money either after you put him up on this podcast last year at Big Pro. You have to give you your due here. In fairness,
didn't want to bring that up, but thanks, Diarmuid. Give it that fiver after. Like his jumping, yes, he made the bad mistake at Leopardstown, and I didn't think he jumped as bad on Sunday as everyone said. He jumped 3 of them kind of not great, but geez, they never looked like falling at the same time. He has this unusual thing where he jumps and he skews out his back legs to his left in the air every time. And I watched back 2 of his novice hurdles today, and he actually did it over hurdles, but to a lesser extent because he's going a bit lower. So it's kind of he just has a weird jumping technique, but it's not slowing him down that much. I know he made the mistake at Leopardstown, but he's just such an engine. This fella beat Il Atlantique and Caldwell Potter in a bumper. He ran Slade Steel very close over 2.5 at Navan. He won what was a very, very good Albert Bartlett. Like Dancing City was third, and he kicked him out of the way, the 2 of them, the Jukebox Man and Stiller Story. I think he's just got a savage engine on him, and he's a stayer. If you'd a bit of cut, I just think 18-1. Like Tony said, he's a win-only proposition. So no way would I back him trade because he could flatter on or do anything. But for my money at Cheltenham, he could easily be as good a horse as Dancing City. On a flat, speedier track, I think Dancing City would beat him all ends up, but not a staying track. I think Stiller Story proved that at Cheltenham last year. Different courses, of course, but yeah, I think 18-1 Stiller Story is absolutely fine for the Brown Advisory. That's where I'd be going. Right, I think that kind of sums it up really for those races. And then we've the handicaps. Dermo, have you a view on the 2? I think they're very hard to get a handle on. There's so few runners for the
oh god, they're very hard. They're very hard. Yeah, the only thing that no flies on him. Wherever he goes, I will be interested in him. He looked a bit of jiggery pokery about him, or he's just not very good. I can't quite decide whether it's. Sometimes you mark up these. As I always say, you mark up a JP horse who could just be rubbish because you always think they're up to something. But to me now, he's looked all right. Then there's the other one as well. Gavin Cromwell did his stable tour, and I find he's a hard man to fully grasp onto. As in, I like the fact that he said the total looks jumping would need to improve, and he was fierce negative on him because that usually means then that he properly fancies him. Because he didn't even mention, I know the way you're thinking last year, but he said that his best horse for the handicaps at Cheltenham was the company sergeant who runs on that Jack Richards novice handicap chase. But the part that has really knocked the enthusiasm out of me about him is he was 20-1 when Gavin Cromwell said that, and he's still 20-1. Surely now, if there was proper vested interest in him here, because now is the hour, has been absolutely thumped out of the way for the National Hunt Chase. I'm going through all the R's lately, trying to find which horses qualify and will end up in these National Hunt Chases. I think if a trainer is brave enough, like if I was Willie Mullins now, I'd be throwing Lecky Watson at that race. Now, he cannot win the Brown Advisory, or even if I was Henry the Bromhead, like I know I just put him up for this race, even Gorgeous Tom or something. I think a top weight, I think you will end up with proper grade 3 animals running in that race. And I think if you had a horse just off grade 1 standard, who's probably not going to beat Dancing City or Ballyburn, you can really knock one home here. But 2 races cast that I think aren't possible to call. Really, really hard to call at this stage.
Yeah, very hard. I think the fact that 3 mile 6 race now is the hour 72 favourite. I thought Captain Cody was every bit as eye catching as him in that beginner's chase behind 3 card Bragg, and he's 14 to 1. But at the same time, look,
You just couldn't really be fancy.
Windy
That race
podcast
shouldn't
out there
exist
for
really
number
now, should
selection.
it?
I have back. Oh yeah. Well,
It should just be gone now because it's just it's pointless. There was something about the amateurs riding these horses over fences and trying to find
they
out.
can run in the ultimate. Do you know what I mean? Like, you
100%.
3 mile novice handicap chase, run them in the ultimate.
100%.
Yeah. Tony Anton in the handicaps too.
Yeah, lads. I think the qualification thing is the big thing. Can they run the ultimate if they have 4 runs? They can't run it. So this is the issue now.
No, but if they have 4,
but not too many of the winter staying novices would have 4 runs now. I think you hit a good point there. You said, will there be summer horses coming back for this national hunt chase? I'd say most probably. A lot
I was
of
trying
these
to find
horses
some,
aren't
Tony,
qualified. They're having 3 runs.
I'm trying to find some. And Stutzakini is one I found, but he's been on the go since. He was kind of running in the summer. He'd be qualified actually.
Yeah,
even though he won a Troytown.
Qualified to leave. Like there's a lot to be said for. So few of these races really in there, and the feeds for all these races. Look, I would be a fan of Now Is the Hour. Like to me, he's a little bit of another back to normal, probably depending on getting a bit of slow ground, but he's straight. Well, you just wait till next week. The entries are going to be out anyway, so there's no panic with the name. You just sat there. You can waste your time guessing, but the entries are out next week, so time enough. And then the novice handicap chase. Well, Jaguar was very limited knowledge of English. He was pressed at the last day. Nürburgring, I don't know about his jumping.
No,
I've been
jump.
unimpressed with his jumping. And does he need another run? No, he's a 3 run. Sorry, he has a 3 run. He got another run Christmas. Yeah. Then your Slade Steel, like Resurrection Project with him. Answer the Cave won really well in this, but he got a hell of a belt for it. So yeah, just happy the lead to get another run into Waterford Whispers. There's no flies on me qualified. Has he had the 3 runs?
He had the 3 runs, I
might have
believe, hasn't he? 2 seconds, sorry.
Yeah. Just we'll see next week when the entries come out. Just
and I'm sure we'll be touching on the handicap soon. I did the one. I know Jaguar was fierce impressed.
He's at 4 actually, Tony. So he has a lot of options.
Springwell Bay was kind of 4 times the price of Jaguar. I thought he was every bit as impressive as Jaguar, but I suppose he's the stone and he goes the plate. So we're kind of rabbiting on here about races that we haven't any opinion on. So there's pointless stuff. Are we going to put anything into the sheet of justice this week? Diarmuid, you said already you definitely have a selection. I'd say you might have been doing yourself with the 8 to 1 there. We'll have a look here at the
No, I think 8 to 1 was even being fair to myself now. I think there's 6s and stuff around the place. But
back today, so
yeah.
Okay, so
8 to
we're
1.
putting in. Yeah, we're putting in him and
Jericho to
Diarmuid.
Repine for the Pretemps.
Yeah, Tony, do you have one? Yes or no?
no.
Jesus, yeah, he's 8 to 1 best now, and he genuinely now he was Jericho to Repine was 12s and 14s after the race. Even the Irish bookies are 5 to 1 now. That's match short. What about the national? The way it came out today, any long term plan? Diarmuid, I know you have one. And a shock horror comes from the Gavin Cromwell yard.
The 2 horses I'm looking at are from the Gavin Cromwell yard.
I
know the way you're thinking. And
say the odds on that double.
Yeah, 100%. And Percival Galwa, I think, is I think with the way the Grand National now is a glorified like American Grand National nowadays. They kind of hurdle around the place. I think the fact that he's now taking in chases and hurdling, he's probably not a grade 1 animal, but I think he'd be plugging on a big price in the day as well. But I thought, now I know the way you're thinking, the way he ran now in the Irish Gold Cup, I think I might start an old project on him, I think.
Grand National's gone to shite anyway now, just 34.
Yeah, the whole thing's just weird. Even the fact that some horses seem to take a belt of weight, and I know the way you're thinking got no pound at all, which I thought was strange. and then the likes of like he gave Manila Cocooner £3. Did he watch the Irish Gold Cup? Like the horse was terrible. How do you give him £3? Just kind of strange all around. But yeah, no, he's looking like a project now.
You probably need to be 150 now to get in, whereas it would have been mid 140s in the
Ben
past.
Pauling said that with Twig, that he I read his stable tour there, and he basically put Twig aside for the whole season for the Grand National, and he said a mark of 146 or whatever would get you in most years. I don't think he's getting in this year. Like that's as owners and trainers now, you'd be losing your mind at this now. Like it's kind of fierce high ceiling now altogether.
Yeah, well, he'll be trying in the Ultima. He was great, ran a really good race in the Ultima last year. I think he might have been second too.
Huge,
yeah. Tony, have you won in the National?
No, I think I know where you're thinking. Has progressed and improved and showed something in all of his 3 runs this season, and I think even the run of Punchestown was good at the start of the season. Your man Johnny me jumped across him twice or 3 times, but he's 8-1 for the Grand National, so yeah, everyone knows.
Yeah. The one I'd like, and she's not going to get in now, she might have gone in the Old National, Melina Girl. I think she's only had 1 run this season with this race in mind, and she's a bit of a travelling thing.
She's Cromwell as well, isn't she? Sorry. Yeah.
She's Cromwell as well. Yeah, I wouldn't have the bias you'd have now. I'm looking at it objectively.
I know you are.
She's about 160, 150 to 1, you know, so you could back her and get your money back when she misses out in the ballot. And we've kind of petered out there and probably lost a lot of listeners for next week. So apologise for that as well.
Next week's a big show, though. Next week's a big show. It's a big one.
Well, what are we doing next week?
We are doing the assessing all the favourites.
Oh, yeah. This is good for the algorithm now. We just keep saying
very good for the algorithm.
Cheltenham, and then the algorithm. Cheltenham. So we're assessing the festival favourites next week. The worst podcast we do all year with the biggest listenership. That's kind of the way that goes. Tony, Keenan, Diarmuid, Nolan, thank you very much. As ever, we'll have our preview podcast for the weekend's raining with Tom Lee and the lads this weekend. Thanks to our sponsors, Gambling.com and Betfred, and we will see you all next week.
Relentless, remorseless, and pounded Cosem Star into submission.